Welcome to the Dragon Slayer podcast by East Idaho Credit Union. I am Stephen. With me, as always, Bailey. Right, Bailey?
Yep.
Okay. And today's guests, we have two great guests from two great organizations. We've got Brianna and Patrick Anderson. Welcome, guys.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.
Yeah, it's awesome to have you here. Okay, so you kind of represent sort of different companies a little bit. Brianna, why don't you go first? And then Patrick, why don't you tell us about what each of you do?
Yeah. So I am with a company called Bellamy, and it is a wellness beauty company. We actually started with just skincare. Now we have skincare, wellness, which Patrick actually helped formulate the wellness for the company. But I've been there since it opened, going on 5 years. And yeah, we're doing good. I've got like almost 4,000 people on my team now.
Goodness.
Yeah. It's keeps me very busy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Especially with that many girls. It's fun and it's fun.
Yeah, well, I was about to say I don't envy you, but
yeah. Yep. So yeah.
Patrick, tell us about you.
Yeah, so 10 years ago, actually, we opened up Rip Nutrition in Idaho Falls here, just down the street, actually.
Yeah.
Really close by, but yeah, it'll be our 10-year. So we do the supplements, the nutrition. We cover kind of everything in that world. We're pretty dipped into a lot of different connections that way, but anything fitness, health-wise, we're pretty much tied into. So
yeah, very nice, very nice. You're sort of like the local Idaho Falls power couple a little bit, right? You've got these two really successful organizations. Yeah,
we'll take it.
Take the
if
compliment.
you want to name us that, I will gladly take that.
Sure. Okay, so I want to go back in time. Ultimately, what we love to talk about during this podcast is how did you get to where you're at, and what kind of struggles did you have to overcome to get there? So we'll try to do this best we can kind of with both of you, because the stories obviously overlap, but then they probably diverge from place to place a little bit as well.
Yeah.
So let's go back in time, if you will. First of all, how did you meet? Who are you guys as a couple?
I saw her in the hallway at high school.
Yeah, but I actually...
There's more to that story.
Yeah. I
bet
noticed
there is.
him in middle school, but he didn't notice me.
Okay.
But I was a cheerleader. He was a wrestler. And I remember just drooling over him
What?
at his wrestling mat.
Yeah, I'm looking at him right now. I get it.
He's a snack. He's a snack. And he did not notice me at all. And I was dating one of his friends, actually. And finally, his senior year, he waits till he's about to graduate.
Yeah.
And I'm a junior. And knowing him now, the fact that he was in the school early is hilarious, because he was not a student. You turned out great, but you weren't a studious person.
It wasn't my first priority.
No, but we were the only ones in the hallway, and he was sitting on the ground, and I walked in and I could feel him just stare at me. And I was like, oh yeah, it's about time. I've waited a long time for this moment.
Okay.
And then he hit me up on MySpace.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. That's how far back we
So
go.
yeah, she walked the hall and then couldn't get the image out of my head. Right. And then I'm sitting there. I'm like, yeah, I got to figure. I'm very persistent. So at that point, once it was in my head,
cocky,
it was done. So I'm like, yeah, I'm going to figure out who she is, everything. And yeah, back then it was MySpace.
Yeah.
And he said, "What up, girl?"
What up,
What
girl?
up, girl?
It worked.
Man, that's a killer
Locked it
line.
in.
The MySpace days, that was a winner, though, right?
Yeah.
That worked. Yeah.
And
had
it was
the right
him.
music.
Yep. And I pretended like I had no
right.
idea who
Forgot
he
about
was.
that.
I was not about to stroke his ego and be like, "Oh my gosh, I've been obsessed with you for so long."
Well, yeah, you got to hold that back.
I was like,
yeah.
I mean, I've seen you around. Whatever, you're okay.
Yeah. Oh, what's
Yeah.
your name again?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're
Yeah.
all right.
I like it.
Yeah.
I like it. Oh man. Okay, so you meet and fall madly in love and get married, something like that.
Basically,
right?
yeah.
How does that story go? How does that all happen?
How'd it happen?
Well, once the MySpace went, it was all uphill from there. It was good. Basically, things happened fast. First off, after MySpace, after I said that, I got her number, and we talked for 48 hours straight. Besides school, we talked.
Wow.
We stayed up all night.
Yeah.
We did not go to sleep. We got ready
The
for
first
school.
night I
and-
didn't sleep all
No.
night. We talked.
It was
all
pretty
night.
crazy. So it was pretty instant. But then we dated for a couple months. Then I started you already start teasing her about, hey, what do you think about getting engaged and stuff? She's like, oh,
And I'm a junior in high school.
Yeah,
And I'm like,
yeah.
oh.
yeah. She's like,
no.
I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
I was
I'm
like,
17.
Well, and I hit that's
Yeah.
a yes. So, anyways, went and we got engaged, and we had a year engagement.
Mm-hmm.
So we waited, finished school, gave it a whole year.
Well, I walked engaged at my graduation. So
Yeah.
he proposed to me like 3 days before I graduated from high school.
Uh-huh.
And so I was like the butt of every joke. It was like
Sure.
Bree's walking with a freaking ring. Like, you guys aren't going to make it. And now obviously 15 years later, we're still we're still together. But yeah.
Yep.
So we got married. I was 19 and he was 21.
Wow. Cool. This is a cool story.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're married, 21, 19, and from there to here, clearly some stuff has happened in between, right?
It's been a journey.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, Patrick, yours started a little earlier, so we're 10 years ago on Rip Nutrition. How did you get to that? How did that happen?
Well, we actually worked together for a while.
Mm.
So going back into good old retail days, in the mall. I went from Aeropostale, which is still there.
Amazingly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Surprisingly. We had a store. From there I went, and then I went to the management team it was called DeMarco's.
Mm.
This
You
was
guys
probably
probably
before
don't-
both of your
Yeah,
time.
yeah.
It was like a suit store.
Like
Yeah.
a Man's Warehouse.
Mhm.
Started
really,
from the bottom, guys.
Mhm.
Started from the bottom.
Mhm.
it was, it was a local store, but very high end. They carried the True Religions, high end brands, high suits, stuff like that. And then from there, I got recruited to Buckle,
Mm-hmm.
and then, which obviously is still striving. But then we went there for over 6 years, and she came on board
I was there for about 4 years.
4 years. So I was there 2 years. She came on.
Mm-hmm.
We're like, let's work together. That's smart. And but it worked out. Like
I don't know if it would now.
Yeah, it might be different now.
I'm a little more stubborn than I was when I was like
Mm.
20 years old.
Mhm.
Yeah.
She listened good then.
Yeah.
Oh my.
No,
This kid.
but yeah, so yeah, started there, worked together, and then basically we started traveling. Hence, we're talking about we moved to Missoula for a year to run a store there,
Mm.
and decided we wanted to be back here in Idaho Falls with our family, and so I was topped out at my job,
Mhm.
but that wasn't like enough for me. I wasn't satisfied. I wanted that next step, and so we're actually in a car ride trying to figure out what the next step is. And she's like, hey, why don't you open up a supplement store? Literally, it was something so simple that
Mhm.
she said, and a light bulb went off. And as soon as she said that, I'm like, I'm going to open up a supplement store. And to give you a little backing on that, outside of being in the retail and fashion end of things, that was my other passion, 100%, was
Mm.
working out, supplements.
So you're
I
a
had-
certified personal trainer.
I did personal
Yeah.
training for a couple of years. And I had every bodybuilding magazine. I was just obsessed with that. It was a passion of mine. I enjoyed it. Anytime, in fact, I still laugh about this because supplements are actually like part of our budget. Like it was a
Mm.
bill.
Oh, God. Yeah.
I was like,
it's part of our grocery bill.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
have to get this every month. So let's put it in this budget. Anyways, but it paid off, right? But
It was market research.
Yes,
Right.
it did.
Yeah.
so yeah, after basically anytime we would go somewhere, because we traveled quite a bit with Buckle, different states, and we went to Arizona one year, and a friend of mine now had a supplement store, their local shop, and totally fell in love with it. Tried their products. Before that was like, your typical GNC, your
Mhm.
typical stuff that is out there all over, call it mainstream stuff. And I've never seen the brands, never heard of them. I'm like, oh, this is crazy. Let's, whatever. And tried it, and instantly, like, night and day difference on the results, how I felt,
Mm.
like game changer. Like, like instantly from after a month of shopping there, I couldn't go anywhere else.
Wow.
Type thing.
Were you like calling, like, is this stuff legal? Like, this
I
is
was like,
awesome.
I was like, it actually works. Like, it was
Yeah.
not that the stuff
What's
didn't
in
work, but
this? Yeah.
yeah, it just showed the full potential.
Interesting.
And that intrigued me, of course.
Yeah,
I'm like,
yeah.
okay, yeah, what's going on? And anything. Or anyways, then when she said the supplement idea, instantly I hit him up, started brainstorming, and that's kind of how it evolved from there. He actually wanted to do a franchise, but we have our own vibe, look, everything. Like I couldn't just grab somebody's and go, duplicate that.
And why would you? Right.
Yeah, we had our own plans that way, and obviously supposed to. So, anyways, worked stuff out that way. Ended up once the idea was in the head, then had to get investors, right? Mm-hmm. Did I talk about the first ones?
You can. Just
basically. We actually had some investors that were on board, and we were a week out from signing on this building that we're in currently. And a week before, they ended up.
We had a different name picked out.
Yeah. Oh,
an
LLC I was
going to
ask about how you came across the name and how that all went.
Yeah, so we had a different name.
It was called American Muscle or something like that, wasn't it?
Extreme Nutrition.
Oh, Extreme. Okay, yes, I can't even remember.
Yeah.
American Muscle would have been cool, though.
American Muscle was the Arizona one.
Okay, that's the Arizona one. I'm like, I did not just pull that out of the middle of nowhere.
So there was a trademark issue with the old name? Was that the idea?
Yeah, they said, we're not going to invest anymore, so you can't use our name because that's our LLC. So we had to come up with a new name, find new investors.
Well, yeah. And it was a last minute thing. And or like a week before we signed, I said, they're just more like, man, something just feels off. Like just something didn't feel right. And we're good and we're friends with them. So it was a mutual thing. And, after they said that, like, obviously I was like, that sucks, but I was like, that's not going to stop it from happening. So
let me ask about that, because this is a really interesting thing that's not entirely uncommon in like startup businesses. Is there's a partnership, but then you decide this doesn't work, and you decide to move things around and do things differently. What was the breakup like, I guess, in that respect? Like, how did you work through that, and what lessons do you feel like you learned in that experience?
Well, the biggest thing was, looking back at it, it was the best thing that could have happened.
Yeah,
100%.
Yeah.
Like, looking at it now, I'm like, that would have sucked. Like,
you're right.
Nothing against them, just
it wasn't right.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Knowing what we know now, how hard it is to run a business, and then having someone else who wants it one way and he's the one doing all the work, it would have been really hard to have outside influence of people saying, oh, you can't do this, or we don't want to carry this, because he's stubborn. Like, he wants it how he wants it. Like, I've given up on really trying to tell him what to do, because it's his way. So
well, and if you're putting in the work, you'd want it to be your way. I can
Absolutely.
appreciate that.
Yeah.
Certainly. Yeah.
Everything happens for a reason, for sure.
So how do you broach the topic? Like, when you're like, it didn't feel right, do you just call and be like, look, homie, this is not going
they're the
well.
ones that pulled out.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
They pulled out.
Yeah. So it was, gut punch then. But
they said they didn't know how successful it would be. So they were scared to put their money into it. And then that kind of fueled us. We actually had two people that we asked to invest, and they both said we were going to fail.
Oh.
And it wasn't going to work out. So we were like,
yeah, sure.
Watch what we're about to do.
So what was the reason that they were like, we don't think it's going to be successful? Why? What was it?
Lack of knowledge of how profitable wellness is. I mean, even in a pandemic, people want to feel good. People are spending money on supplements, on beauty. I mean, we really picked recession-proof industries, honestly. But I think it's just lack of knowledge of of how badly we needed something like Rip Nutrition, because GNC, I think we had a Complete Nutrition at the time, and it's all the same mainstream. Things are packed with filler. It's like buying skincare at Walgreens, right? There's just a difference there in
that's a good way to
quality.
put it. Yeah. So
which don't do that. Don't buy your skincare at Walgreens.
I don't buy skincare at all, so that makes sense. Yeah.
Even worse.
No. But I can follow what you're saying. Yeah.
So you just don't wash your face?
I mean, I do.
Are you like a splash water on it type of guy, or?
Yeah, like at night I'll splash. But like I wash my face when I'm taking a shower.
Yeah.
That's not okay.
It's making me a little. We'll talk later.
You can't see this, but she just scooted away from me.
Yeah.
I'm like, you're stressing me out. He actually did not wash his face much either before I got into the industry, but we're getting way off topic. Sorry, but
no, I've learned a lot. That's for sure.
It's important. I need to know this.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. So
No,
anyways,
trust me,
Anyway.
I got the same reaction.
Yeah.
So.
I was like, boy, no.
Well,
What's this crap you're buying? Walgreens? No.
And if you asked me what kind of soap I use to wash I couldn't tell you.
Probably just like your body wash or your shampoo. Just,
Bar soap.
Just a bar soap.
Knew it.
gall.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
We'll
like
talk, yeah.
nondescript, like fresh smell. I don't know what it is.
Yeah. Yeah. Does your husband use skincare?
He's actually still in that boat. I need to get him over
Oh,
on the
no,
Bellamy.
no,
Yeah.
no.
Yeah.
Oh, no. Because he's
Uh,
young.
Well, to be fair, I think a lot of guys are.
Yeah.
It's
For
just
sure.
not being educated, right?
Yeah.
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 When would I have been taught any
Right.
of this information? Yeah.
Yeah.
They don't
Today.
teach a class in school. Yeah. I
Today.
mean,
Yeah.
this is actually the reason we invited you.
Yeah.
Is to,
I got you. I
to
got
teach
you.
me about this. Yeah. Interesting. Okay. So let's go back to this story. So your old investor decides that we don't want to do it. And then you talk to a few more that also say, we're not really in. What happens from there?
We're really religious, and basically, to me, and this is one of the reasons, in fact, why I knew about the engagement. When she said no, I knew it was a yes, because I was into.
Yeah.
Anyways, I was I'm big on praying, and I got the feeling then that I was supposed to marry her. So, anyways, that's the vibe I went off there. So, anyways, back to the story with Ripped. Basically, same thing. Prayed about it, and after a couple gut punches, it was like, okay, what's next? What's supposed to happen? And I was like, just got that feeling. I'm like, okay, so I think I need to talk to my parents about it, and we end up going up, to our house. We bought their house, so our house now.
Okay. It's like, I don't understand what he's saying, but
Yeah.
okay. Yeah.
At our house, their house. Did a presentation, and basically, like, instantly when I was done, they were in. Like, it was because obviously they knew what we were trying to do and stuff,
Yeah.
but they didn't know all the details. So once I broke it down on, on all the details, they were like, "Oh, this is a no-brainer. Let's do it."
Well, and his dad pulled out his entire 401k.
Wow.
To do it, yeah.
Wow.
So
That's a lot of
that's a lot
trust.
of pressure.
It's a lot of
too.
trust. Yeah.
Yeah, like his
Yeah.
entire. He worked at the site for 45-ish
Yeah.
years,
Mm.
so he pulled it out, and because we didn't want to do it in like a debt way,
Sure.
Yeah.
and so
But I
he's
wasn't.
like all paid off.
Yeah.
at this point.
But I wasn't even, even though that was a huge big deal, especially looking back at it now, I wasn't even like stressed about that
No.
though. Like,
They would
I
say like,
was
what
so-
happens if you're not successful?
I
And
was
we're
like, it's not an option.
that's
I was
not
like,
even
I
an
was just
option.
so
It's on the
confident with
table.
it, and I
Yeah.
knew it was going to work. And I was like,
Yeah.
it's bulletproof. I was like, it's happening.
And I think
So-
it's good that we started it so young because we were so naive to how hard it was going to be.
Yeah.
That I
Right.
actually highly recommend opening a business when you're younger because you're just so naive to like how hard things are going to be.
Right. Right. You probably still have enough energy to get through some
Oh,
of that
gall.
stuff too.
Thinking
yeah.
of like starting that now makes me like, I need a
Just
nap
wanna- yeah, this-
thinking about it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, oh my gosh, that's a lot.
So I want to ask about this. 'Cause this isn't a topic we've talked a lot about on this podcast, but it's one that a lot of would-be entrepreneurs come across, which is funding. Like, how do you figure out how to get this thing going off the ground? This is a really interesting story because it's a great example of how you can make that happen. Chasing angel investors is a huge method for how people go after funding, friends, family.
Yep.
What I like about what you said, though, what I think a lot of entrepreneurs forget is you went in with a pitch, like you knew what you were talking about. You'd done your research. You knew that it was bulletproof walking in. Walk like a new entrepreneur through how do you make the pitch to fund your business? What kind of advice would you give them on how they do that?
Don't you think first and foremost, having an opportunity or a business that there's a need for?
Mm-hmm.
For sure.
I think that was our biggest thing is like we knew that Idaho Falls needed it,
Mm-hmm.
right? And you had
Mhm.
talked to Jonathan and he had two, the guy that we kind of was like our mentor, I would call him, had two,
Yeah.
and they were thriving. And so it was like we knew there was like oh my gosh, I'm having a brain fart here.
Well, we're seeing it happen right before our eyes, right? With
Mhm.
his
Yeah.
business and it working. And there's things that I saw in his business. I'm like, I wouldn't do, and I would do this different
Mm-hmm.
and make it better. And Sorry, I'm tapping the table.
It's okay.
Stop.
Anyways.
No, I think there's really something to that though, right? Like seeing somebody do it and taking it and just iterating on it, right? Taking
right.
what they're doing right and keeping that, and taking what they're doing wrong and
Right.
fixing it. Yeah.
And it could be depending on the business, maybe in his area, what he was doing made sense, or you know what I mean.
Mhm.
But for where we're at in our area and stuff, yeah, there's just things that, well, quite a bit I changed, but the concept was there, the I guess the ground of it. And you know, the big thing in the supplement industry was products. At the end of the day, doesn't matter if I could sell anything to anybody.
Yeah.
It has to, at the end of the day, they have to get the results and get to come back.
Right.
Otherwise, oh yeah, Pat was cool and he sold me on this, but the product didn't work. Like,
Right. Yeah.
you're not gonna have business off that. So it's really believing, if you can say that right, in what you sell, and having that passion behind it, but also the products to back it up for sure.
Mm-hmm.
And then we had the backing with, I would say with Buckle, they had another thing that gave us the confidence too was they had called the MT program, which was a manager in training.
Okay. Yeah.
And that their concept on that was, if you do the program is 4 years long, is the same as if you went to college for 4 years for a business degree type thing. But obviously it's hands-on, real life, you're dealing with it. And for me, that was the best type of training.
It's probably more valuable than a
Right.
degree, actually.
Totally.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
And
100%.
I'm not that type. Yeah, go read a book, teacher.
That was the
stuff.
biggest thing for both of us. Neither of
Yeah.
us wanted to go to college.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So we were like, how are
And-
we going to make money? Try
Yeah.
to figure that out. Yeah.
Yeah, if you don't want to go bad enough, you got to figure it out, right? and but they give us that backing of this is how you run a business, this is how you run a store, manage all that kind of stuff. So then with that backing, I guess that's where a lot of confidence came that way. and then the confidence in the industry and the products. So what we did with Jonathan, you know, would buy into that. We're buying into like exclusive rights to certain brands and different things like that. Because, you know, one thing that protects us here in Idaho Falls is Joe Smo can't go down the street and open up a store and carry what I carry.
They try.
Right.
They try.
They do try.
Yeah, I bet they do.
They try.
Yeah. And is that's regionally limited to Idaho Falls or like East Idaho, or depends on the product?
It depends on the product and the person.
Yeah.
Like a 100-mile radius.
A lot of
usually.
it, I mean, you'd be surprised. Some will only be like 5 miles.
Yeah.
Oh, crazy.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Wow. Okay.
And those brands, I'm like, okay, like, you know, because if you're like in maybe, I don't know, like Boise, and you have all the connections, you know, within reach, that's a little different. Where here, things are spread out, you know, so it's totally different.
Right.
So explaining that to them and getting them to understand that. But I'm more big on, I like dealing strictly with like the owner of the company and building up that relationship and bond, because obviously they're going to be in charge. So that's how we'll get a lot more control as far as our products and stuff too.
Yeah,
So-
that makes sense. Okay, so you've secured the funding. What now? What do you do after that?
At East Idaho Credit Union, we offer startup loans for emerging businesses to help support you in the early stages of growth. This could be for inventory, equipment, or other operating expenses. Almost all businesses qualify. Get started today by visiting us at eastidahocu.org/start, federally insured by the NCUA.
Okay, so you've secured the funding. What now? What do you do after that?
Oh man, it was
Well, we moved in with my parents because we were broke.
Yeah.
And then we found out I was
always
pregnant.
forget about that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we were actually selling supplements out of my parents' basement. And my dad's actually the one that named Ripped.
Oh.
So, yeah,
I'm trying to remember how that.
we were like sitting at their house because we lived there. And
We're going through names.
he
He said
said
ripped,
ripped.
and then I said without the E.
yeah.
Yeah.
So it was like one of those things where we're like, oh, that's actually kind of like catchy. We like that. And then we're like, we could say like get ripped. It's so funny to go back
I
that
know.
far. But yeah, we were like selling I mean, I remember we had like a POS system like in the basement, and we were
'Cause
like
this-
driving and delivering.
Oh,
like,
that's so
These
funny.
buildings
Yeah.
were brand new, so they're just getting built.
Right.
Yeah.
So we're waiting on them. and we're ready to go.
And you've got product.
Oh
You're
yeah,
right.
Oh,
we've
the
got
basement.
products
Just
stacked
right.
up in their
I have
basement.
pictures, yeah, it's
We're like,
just
who needs
covered.
protein? You guys need protein? We were going like car to car, putting flyers on every
That is
car.
so how were people were they coming to the house to buy it, or how
we
was
would go
that
like
happening?
deliver it.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Would you
Or
like
they
call
would
them and
come.
be like, "Hey, we've got some
It was
stuff and we can bring it
gosh.
to
so
you."
it was social. It was, I mean,
Social media,
Social
I
media.
think.
I
then.
see. Okay.
Instagram wasn't that big.
It was Facebook.
10
Right, it
years
was
ago.
Facebook
it
at
was,
that point,
It was
yeah.
Facebook.
Yeah.
But also kind of in our favor, like you said, we worked at Buckle and we were pretty well known with a lot of, I guess we worked with a lot of people
Yeah.
in Idaho Falls. And
Yeah.
so they already knew they trusted us. And so we
Mhm.
had like it's all about
good
connections.
network
It's
there.
all about
Yeah.
networking.
Right.
Yeah.
And if you want to be a successful business owner, you have to know how to network.
Sure.
And I think that those 6 years at Buckle, we just had all these people that just wanted to support us. And he had a name for himself with, I mean, I've never known him to not have a 6-pack. Like, it's like kind of annoying sometimes, honestly, like when you're pregnant
been
and
times.
eating your feelings and you're like, go away. But he was known for this anyways. And people
Uh-huh.
asked him questions anyways.
Right.
So,
yeah. It was a logical step, honestly. Yeah. It made,
It
a
made
ton
sense.
of sense. Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay. So you're selling out of the basement. What do you, so eventually the building comes to life, right?
Mm-hmm.
How does that whole transition happen, moving into the building and setting up shop kind of for the first time?
Man,
It's
so we,
empty.
yeah, and then you thought you had a lot of supplements, and you put it in there, and you're like, oh,
Oh,
wow, we need more.
pretty barren here.
Oh
Yeah.
my gosh, and it's expensive. I mean, supplements, they want you to buy in bulk, and so
Right.
it was it took a long
Well,
time.
when you fill up a basement, it's hard.
We
and
felt
then
like gangsters. We're
Well,
like,
we thought
yeah.
we got a lot. Like,
Put it in the
this
store. We're
store's gonna
like,
be stuffed.
okay.
I'm like spacing them to fill up a row. I'm like, oh, this is not
We had a
good.
couch and an ottoman in there.
Sure.
Like,
Get
I
some
look
more
back-
art right
oh
here.
my
We can put some
gosh.
art up here. Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
the couch I did. So American Muscle, they had a whole chill like lounge area.
Yeah,
They
sure.
kind of made it like a atmosphere where we could come hang out.
Hanging
Yeah.
place. Yeah.
You had
Yeah.
a PlayStation going and stuff. Like I think I didn't want that much hanging out.
Right.
But it's like you come chill and talk a little bit,
Yeah.
but it's not all day. But anyways, that's what happened. Actually, we'd get some people and family that would come and just chill on the couch.
Yeah.
all day.
His
So,
grandpa would literally come
my
in.
grandpa is one of them. Yeah.
And he was kind of a dirty old man. That's
Yeah.
where he was. But I'm like, your grandpa's making people uncomfortable because he's just staring. But that was just his grandpa. He was just this like wealthy, bored old
Uh-huh.
man, and he was just so proud of Pat. So people come in and be like, yeah, that's good protein. He'd like never had it, but yeah,
Yeah.
it was great. But like, it was just it's all family. Like I
Yeah.
was working in there with him till I had our son Gray,
Mhm.
and he's 9 now.
Yeah, so
But-
you're in there. Yeah, it's cool because we have a slideshow now on our
Mm.
TV in there, and
Mhm.
it has a lot of old pictures
That's
of
cool.
it being bare. Like we have a picture of the green wall when it
Yeah.
was bare, and her pregnant, and
Yep.
yeah, it's,
Yeah. It really was just kind of when you first open, you can't afford to have staff.
Right.
You're the staff.
Right.
So he was
Mhm.
working 6 days a week. I'm freaking so pregnant and uncomfortable, and it's
Mhm.
cement floor. So I just remember just being like, oh my gosh, like, why did we do these two things at the same time? But I mean, then I was his only employee. So we had our son in there in like a little walker, and he would go and just like knock everything off
yeah.
the shelves. I mean, just looking back at where we are now.
and then the parents are. I mean,
Yeah.
because it was my mom and dad at the time, so
Mhm.
they're helping as much as they could,
Mhm.
but that's, again, it's not their world,
Right.
So it's like
They can only do so much.
Right.
Yeah.
right,
Yeah.
so
You just do what you can
Right.
with what you have.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yep.
So when you open the doors, like what's the response from the general public? Are they like banging down the doors to get in there? She's shaking her head no.
I know. It was
oh,
a
yeah,
lot.
we had a huge line. No.
I think our first day of business, we did okay on our first day. It was like
Yeah.
$1,000 probably
Mhm.
for our first
Right.
day,
That's
and
great for
we
first
were like,
day.
Yeah.
cool, this is awesome. And no, but we were doing. That's the thing is people see where you're at with the success now.
Mhm.
But I mean, every weekend we were at those little trade shows, or
Yeah.
like literally for hours putting flyers on cars.
Mhm.
And we were on the radio. We had, I mean, we tried everything, but at the end of the day, I feel like word of mouth was everything.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And if you're looking to open up a small business in Idaho Falls, I highly recommend it, just because I feel like we are that small town feel,
Yeah.
and people want to shop small.
Yeah, 100%.
So it definitely wasn't like it takes time.
Yeah.
I mean, I say
Yeah.
like your first 5 years,
Eh,
don't look,
well, yeah.
don't
so
think
let-
you're going to make very much.
That's the golden rule, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Make it past that first 5 years.
Most
kind of got it made.
fail
Yeah.
within the first 5 years.
Oh,
Yeah.
the percentage is insane. First
Yeah.
year is like I could-
75%.
Oh, it's crazy
or
high.
even
Yeah.
higher.
Yeah.
I think in
I think it might even be like 90s.
90s.
Yeah, it's
something
crazy.
Really high.
And yeah, so but yeah, word of mouth, 100%. But second was actually our decals that are on cars.
Yeah.
So I was like, this would be a cool idea. Let's advertise. Let's give them, because we're like, how do we give them a deal? Like, how would this work?
Mhm.
Mike will slap a sticker of our cool logo, right?
Mhm.
In my head, I'm like, put them on their car and they get 10% off their purchase.
Yeah.
And I was like, it's a win-win. And going into that, yeah, you could say that all you want. And trust me, I know a lot of companies have tried it now. It doesn't just work.
Right.
Like somehow I don't know, a lot of it's maybe the relationship with our guests, how we treat them. I don't know, different things like that. But yeah, I'd say 50% of our guests will totally rock one and put it on their car and totally support us that way. And it's really cool. So
Well, and it's crazy because we've done that since the beginning.
Yeah.
And we just had our 9-year, and I mean, we're going on 10 years, and we still have people that will come in and say, for the last like 5 years, I've seen these stickers on these freaking cars, and it's annoying at this point.
So I have
So
to
like,
see
I
what it
need to
is.
know what you guys are about.
You're
Like,
like,
it's like
perfect.
it,
That's
it's
how I
like the
want you to
ad
feel.
that keeps on playing,
Yeah.
Right, yeah.
So it was
Yeah.
genius on his part for sure.
It's
So-
really good.
Yeah.
I was
really,
gonna,
really good,
I was gonna
actually.
say that I see them all day, every day. They're everywhere. It's so
Yeah.
cool.
It's
Yeah.
really cool to see. And especially now, 9 years of that. He posted, was that yesterday? He was driving around and he saw like
Oh, yeah.
5 or 6 and posted every single one. And I'm like, that is so cool.
Well, because we see them all the time. And I was
Yeah.
like,
Oh, yeah.
so I'm like, oh, I'm going to just take pictures of everyone I see. Yeah, I think we had like 5 or 6 of, so we put them on our stories and just, you know, just showing them.
Yeah.
But yeah, the local support's insane. They're awesome. Like,
Well, it's so interesting about that. I mean, that's like definition of guerrilla marketing, right? Like
Yeah.
it's so well done and well thought out. When Bailey told me, you're like, yeah, we're gonna have Rip Nutrition on, and I was like, oh, I think I know who that is. How do I know who that is?
Yeah.
You know, I'm not from the area, but I've seen your stuff everywhere.
Yeah.
And I finally, you said that, and I was like, that's
That's
why I
it.
knew who they were.
It's
Now I'm
It's like
putting
a
it together.
subconscious
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
It's like
Yeah.
you see a McDonald's ad,
Yeah.
but you
Yeah.
don't want a hamburger right now. But when you want a hamburger, it's
Yeah,
going to
yeah.
pop in your head,
Yeah.
right? So if you don't need protein right now, maybe you're not going to come in, but you're going to remember Rip Nutrition. We're going to make sure, because you're going to
Yeah.
stop behind 5,000 people
Yeah.
in the next year with a sticker on their car.
Yeah,
Gonna make you
and I
come
definitely
in.
have.
Well,
Yeah.
it was funny because he literally said, he was like, oh yeah, they got locations everywhere, because
Yeah.
you were thinking of the sticker.
Yeah,
Yeah,
maybe
yeah.
that's
Yeah.
right. Yeah. I've never,
We look
admittedly,
busy.
I've never
Yeah.
been in your store before. That's
You've
not,
never been in our store. You don't wash your face.
I'm a bad
We're not
person.
off to a very good
Yeah,
start
I'm
here.
a bad person. Yeah, no doubt about it. If you start selling horses, then I'll show up. I'll
Oh,
be there
okay.
for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, love that.
I have
But
some subs with pictures of horses.
that's enough for me.
Okay.
Yeah, that'll
Sweet.
work. Yeah.
That's awesome.
But anyway, yeah, I was like, yeah, they've got to have stuff everywhere, right? That was just what happened in my brain when she said Rip Nutrition. So
That's awesome.
yeah, it's
We love
interesting.
that.
Yeah, so we're what? How far were we into it when you jumped into Bellamy?
Yeah,
'cause
that was
you're
going to be my
4.
next question: is when did that transition take place?
Well,
So
I
we hit
think
the 5-year mark. So then a year after that.
Gray, our son. So after I had Gray, so his brother was actually in the military
Mm-hmm.
and wanted out, and so he moved home and worked for Pat. So I got to step away.
Mm-hmm.
So I was a full-time stay-at-home mom, and I struggled with postpartum depression really, really bad. And Bailey can probably attest to this. When you're a mom and you feel isolated and you don't talk to like grown people,
Mhm.
you start to lose your mind a little bit. And, you know, Ripped is like his passion. I
Right.
like fitness and I like being healthy, but like talking about like protein all day was like not my jam, you know. I love that for him, and it's been such a blessing for our family, but it wasn't like my calling.
Yeah,
and
sure.
so I actually stumbled into the direct sales industry on accident. My friend from elementary school was like trying to hit like a goal when she actually sold LipSense, the Synergen stuff. And so I was like buying a bunch from her, and she's like, you know, you should really do this with me. And I was like, I will never do an MLM. Like, that's disgusting.
Yeah.
People who do that are so cringe. I'm never going to do it. But I ended up signing up to help her. And I did like one live video with my son, and I was sharing that, like, you know, the lipstick doesn't come off, whatever. And I was like flooded with messages, and I'm like, oh my gosh, like, okay. So I started selling a lot. But then after a while, I had earned a trip. We went to Costa Rica, and that was like the first time I got to like meet the CEO of that company. And it just, morally, I just didn't feel like I fit there. And, you know, part of the thing with MLMs too is I think a lot of times you get these people who are at the top of these companies and they really just care about themselves. They're in it for a paycheck.
Yeah.
They make people feel like numbers. And that's what that really felt like to me. And it just, I had real people on my team, people trying to get their husbands out of the military, people trying to be able to afford groceries. I mean, these were people that I knew they needed an opportunity that worked. And so I actually ended up stepping away from that company after like 2.5 years. And I was like, I'm never doing MLMs ever again. Like, I'm never going to do it. And I was telling Patrick one night, I'm like, I really, really miss direct sales. Like, it just, the community it gives me something to do. It gives me like purpose, like helping other people. And it gives me something like fun to look forward to doing. And so I was like, the only way I'll ever go to another MLM is if it's like God-based. So I wanted like a Christian-based, and I wanted like a ground level opportunity because I wanted to be able to help this company grow from like the ground up. Literally like the next day, I get like a cold message, just meeting someone slid into my DMs that I had no idea who they were. And she's not even with Bellamy anymore, but she was like, hey, there's this new company. It's only 5 weeks old. We're doing this, this founding opportunity where you can earn $75,000. And I was like, I'm listening. Like, my ears are perked. And Pat was sitting with me, and he watched the video, and it was actually my upline AJ and as someone else that's not with the company anymore. And I like went down the rabbit hole, started looking into it, and he just gets up, grabs his credit card, comes over, gives it to me, and he says, you're doing this. And I was like, okay, but like, you know how this goes. Once I'm in it, like, I don't know how to half do things. Like, I've got to go. So I signed up, and that weekend we went to Island Park to go like dirt biking and all of that. And I was in my room almost the entire time, just like recruiting and sharing. And yeah, that was almost 5 years ago, which is so crazy because when I joined, I think we only had like 500 partners, and now we have like 50,000 or
Holy
something
cow.
like that. So
Wow.
yeah, it's been a journey for sure.
Incredible.
Never thought it would turn into what it did.
Yeah.
But yeah, it still doesn't feel real sometimes.
It was
Yeah.
another one of those moments. It was like we were supposed to do it, you know, just
Yeah.
had that feeling. And
Yep, for sure.
Amazing.
obviously.
Okay, so we've got a feel for like how you've gotten to where you are. What's next? What's coming?
Well, he's been busy. He's actually working on, well, we have a Boise location now.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we opened up a Boise location technically last year. And this year, we're in the process of opening up one in Star Valley.
Mm-hmm.
So
It's very
two
exciting.
locations there. And the cool thing with the franchising is it's not even something I haven't even advertised like or put out there
So
or
that
anything.
you're hearing it first right now.
This is
huh?
like people like coming in and
Yes.
talking type thing.
Breaking news.
Yeah, incredible.
And yeah, my idea was, I'm like, because we're working on a website. I'm like, when we do our website, I'm like, okay, I'll put out, franchise opportunities. And that's how that will happen.
Mm-hmm.
And that was always my game plan. Now 2 stores later, and the website's not up yet.
I'm working on a website right now, and he's like, crap, he's been working on a website for like 4 years.
Okay.
And I'm like, bro,
It's been like a year.
honey, it's
Hey,
been
we're
a-
supposed to wrap up at
Let's
the
go
end
back
of
to
April.
Travis Carlton. That was a long time
Oh,
ago.
that's an old one.
See?
That's not the one we're working on.
This is why it's
I'm
hard
gonna beat him.
for spouses to work
Oh,
together.
and
right
we're both
here.
so
Right.
competitive. Like, our son is so competitive. And I'm like, I wonder where he gets it from.
It was funny. I was talking to my boss one time, and we were talking about what it would be like to work with your spouse.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, yeah, if my spouse worked here, I'd be in your office every day telling you, you've got to fire her. This is not
Yeah.
working.
Get rid of
Yeah.
her. I am not okay in the workplace.
That's right.
Yeah,
Well, like I said, we worked really well together,
and
then
we still do.
Yeah.
yeah, totally.
I
can.
think the
It's-
shift is just that I'm so busy with Bellamy
Right.
now
Yeah.
that he'll pull. So I work from home, so he'll call me or send me a voice memo about something about Ripped, and then I have to turn my Bellamy head off
Yeah.
and put on my Ripped head, and then
Yeah.
I go into mom mode, and then it's just like it's
Yeah.
just balancing
She's-
that.
Yeah.
I was just gonna say you're not that good at multitasking, so
I'm not.
that's when it's.
I'm not. I have ADD. I'm really
So
bad.
you just explaining all three of those steps. I'm like, oh, that's why. Okay, that makes sense. It just clicks.
I don't. Yeah, I admit it. I have horrible ADD.
I will say this is not a couples therapy
Mm.
podcast. That's for sure. Yeah, we're certainly not
Yes.
helping in that respect. Yeah.
You know what? We're bulletproof.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
just kidding. Okay, so franchise opportunities. That's a big deal. This is a big
Yeah.
deal.
And we launched even bigger deal is last year I launched the RIP series, which is our in-house supplement brand, right? And I never knew what that was going to turn into. So now I have first time ever where I actually have 2 managers in the store because I have to have so much time now working on this part of the
Yeah, you
aspect
can't
of the
just
job.
run a retail store anymore.
Right.
Yeah.
And so, which is totally trippy because I'm used to just always be on the floor helping
Right.
people. Now I'm always in the back room.
Right.
I'm doing stuff, and but it's been fun because it's like I can't ever say I've never lost my passion with RIP, but I didn't realize I had a whole nother door
Yeah.
open
Yeah.
in the same industry that I had such a strong passion for, which is now developing supplements.
Right.
So that is blowing up, and we got, I don't even know, probably right now we've launched, I don't know, 15 products or so.
And I'm not saying this because I'm his wife. Even if I didn't know him, his supplements are by far the best I have ever tried. I am the most annoying customer. Just ask him. He thinks I am so annoying. I think everything tastes like
You
garbage.
could see his face right now.
He'll be like, taste this. It's so good. I'm like, that literally tastes like crap. And he's,
Because you get those guests.
I'm
that
not guessed.
You can't make them happy.
It's me. Hi, I'm the problem. It's me. Yeah. So if it's Brie approved,
We're really good.
he's
It's
like,
pretty solid.
Thank the Lord.
I'm
yeah.
gonna leave right from this podcast to go get some.
You should.
Yeah, so we got
Yeah.
the line, about 15 products or so launched. It actually started because of Bellamy. I should
Yeah.
start off with.
Yeah.
So because they were doing all the beauty stuff, and then when they got into their wellness line, that's when
We're really close to the CEO of
yeah.
Bellamy
Mm,
because I've been there from the beginning. So
Yeah, for
she's like
long,
one of
yeah.
my really good friends.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So basically, got together with them, and they asked helped, hence being in the industry. And then so we got to help develop their supplements, and then we if you get to know me, like, I'm not the social type. I'm not like her.
Mm.
She can go talk to millions of people and be fine. Where now I'm fine
This
with
has
the podcast.
even big for you. No, you've come a long way. You gotta
But
give yourself
you
some credit.
like even
Yeah.
2 years ago, this is a big, like, I'd be scared to do
Mhm.
this. But Bellamy's branched me out because doing that, and then they have their conferences, and then they need people to talk about their supplements. So
Right.
now I get to go talk in front of people, thousands, and yeah, man, that first time. But she was actually more nervous than I was
I
somehow.
hate public speaking. I am unwell when I have to go on stage. I think I was like
man.
shaking like a leaf. And
Oh boy.
but
Yeah.
also you're putting me on stage to talk about supplements, right? And I'm like, I'm Mrs. Supplements, but like I'm not supplements.
Yeah.
And so they're wanting me to talk about it. And I'm like, I get it to a degree, but he's like a little scientist when
Right.
it comes with this kind
Yeah.
this kind of stuff. So
Yeah.
But I say in very simple terms, like
Sure.
not one that I don't like. Well, first off, I can't say the big words, but so I say it very
or spell
simple.
them.
No,
Yeah.
no. Oh, if you see how they do those ingredients, yeah, those are hard to spell.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, so we're helped with that, got our line. Then I was like, that gave me a taste of it. I'm like, and I've always wanted to do our own line. It just, I guess the timing was never right. And then I got a connection with who now is my manufacturer. As soon as I met him and we got to talking, it was like an instant, just one of those people you're supposed to meet.
Right. Yeah.
And him and me are like insanely tight now, super good friends, but we're totally supposed to work together. And now I'm one of his, biggest companies he deals with. And we got about 15 products that we've launched, and we got, I think at the end of it, we have like 30 something products,
Wow.
Wow.
like total. It's insane. So we have we're going to cover like everything.
So next would be getting your website up and getting your products in. I would like to
Yes.
see him go like nationwide with his
Sure.
products.
So
Yeah.
that's why I said this is even a bigger deal than the franchises,
Right.
because
This is his like real baby, I feel like.
you can
Yeah.
go
Yeah.
online, obviously you can hit everybody.
Yeah.
So the potential's endless on that. And
Do you distribute through any online retailers today, or everything's in shop?
everything's in shop.
Yeah.
And then of
Interesting.
course the other 2 stores we
Well,
have.
and one of
I'm
the
actually even
things-
more impressed with that, actually,
Yeah,
because
totally.
a lot of the times people, they start with the digital aspect of it because it's easier,
Right.
And
Mhm.
yeah, interesting.
I mean,
Okay.
a decade ago, that wasn't really the thing. Now you can have an online business and make a lot of money, but
Well, and a lot of our stuff, and maybe it's more the old school type thinking, but we like to test and go through our products. We'll obviously test them ourselves first, right?
Mhm.
And once it gets that first approval, then it goes to our guests, and then we have to have that feedback the same from them, and them loving it, and hear everything.
Mhm.
And technically, the line came out with the series, and I've already revamped them, and now they're version 2s.
Right. Yeah.
But the cool part about it is I didn't ever have to take one product away, nor did I have to take any ingredients out.
Mm.
So all I did was enhance them more.
Mhm.
So, and the point of that is, like, when you're making something, even if you make 10 products, you could probably say, half of them will probably fail, half will be good,
Mhm.
and then we'll recreate from there. But everything is, your fingers crossed, everything has literally just been like golden and been amazing.
That's awesome.
And
Yeah.
you just don't hear that usually with products. But we've also had, with all the 10 years behind it and knowing what the guests want, need, what works, what doesn't, is a huge advantage of making the products now. So.
Yeah. So you guys keep saying something that's different that I don't typically hear from people. Your customers you refer to as guests. Tell me about that. Where
it's a buckle term.
Is that a buckle term? I was curious
Yeah,
where that came
because
from and what that
also,
means.
I think we both, and I've emphasized this earlier, people are people, and we want people to feel like people. And I think a lot of times just saying customer just sounded kind of
Like
transactional.
impersonal. Yeah.
Yeah. And to us, like, guests, it's like, come in, like, be our go to Beauty and the Beast, be our guest, like, let us
Put our service to the test.
Yeah, try the
I like it.
great stuff. It's delicious. Anyways, but yeah, I just think that it's like a respect thing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, they were. When we were first getting trained there, they're so strict on that. Of course,
Yeah.
naturally, we weren't saying
because
that.
even with
Right.
Bellamy, I mean, I call them like my clients or something instead of a customer. It's not that there's anything wrong with customer. I just think it's like impersonal. You know,
Well, I think
Totally.
Yeah.
I think you made this point where it just changes the way you think about who these people are. It's a
Mm-hmm.
really simple way to alter like your mindset
Yeah.
on who these
Mhm.
people are.
Well, because I think if I could give like anyone starting a business any advice, it would be that you have to care more about people than you care about yourself.
Mm.
Your why has to be so much bigger than you.
Yeah.
And I think that that's why he's been so successful, because he genuinely gets so much joy out of helping someone live a healthier life, be more confident, feel good in their own skin, you know? And he's really good at that. And I think a lot of people are scared to come in, especially women. I'll get messages on my Instagram. I really want to come into Ripped, but I'm like terrified.
Well,
Because, you know, it's
did-
intimidating to talk about your body. You
Did I
know,
not tell you what we're launching?
Did you told
Well,
I can't
actually,
keep up with you.
It's funny this came up. So literally, that's especially with the logo, the look, everything.
Yeah.
It's a little more aggressive. So it's not like
It's definitely more masculine.
Right,
And
right.
I like how I'm getting breaking news right now, live on the podcast.
so. We're just talking about this, and because we had and it always happens, and we had a lady in last week, I think, and anyways, got done helping her, but she at the end of it was just told us, hey, just so you know, like it took me like years to ever come in here because I was so intimidated
Yeah.
and uncomfortable, and I finally did. And she's like, I wish I would have came in those whatever years ago,
Yeah.
if I would have known like the service I got and how you guys treated people and stuff, because you made me just feel so comfortable, and feel good, and helped her out with what she needed. First, I think a lot of them think, I don't know if we're gonna like judge them or
talking about your body as a woman
Yeah,
is
it's-
very intimidating. Yeah.
So we're doing
To a man,
Yeah.
you know,
It,
Mhm.
who's
A
in
buff
good
man.
shape. Yeah.
Which-
yeah.
with big old muscles, and you're like, hi, I just want to lose my baby fat. It's
which is
hard.
why I've always had a girl manager.
Yeah.
usually.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Plus in retail and stuff, we just worked with in general more girls than guys.
Sure.
And where I was always going to be there. So,
So
we
tell us what you're
generally-
launching.
So, okay. Yeah.
We
So
got to
I
reel
tried.
him in sometimes.
So, well, basically we're doing, it's going to be a link that we're going to set up on our social media. So Instagram, Facebook, will be on the website as well. Coming soon.
Coming soon.
TBD.
Ish.
Weather
Um,
permitting. Yeah.
Basically, it'll have time slots
Mine
for,
will be up first.
it'll be time
Sorry.
slots for one-on-ones
Mhm.
that they can set up with
actually
me or one of the
genius.
girl
I love
managers
that.
or whoever.
Yeah.
That way they can get that one-on-one time dedicated to them, and they know it's for them, and
Mhm.
it's for the people who. I think there's going to be a percentage that will like that in general, anyways.
yeah.
But it's especially reaching out to the ones that are, whether they're insecure, aren't comfortable, intimidated, whatever the case is,
Mm.
to kind of help them that way.
I think that's
So,
great.
That's awesome.
I do
Yeah.
too.
You
Yeah.
like that
Happy I
idea?
could hear
Should I
about
do
it.
it?
Welcome to our life. And I can't multitask. This dude has like 20 tabs open at all times. I don't
Too
know how
many.
he does it. Well, that sounds like a great idea, honey.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I love that.
Hey, you heard it here first.
Yeah.
I love that.
When is that launching?
We're going to start advertising it this weekend.
Cool.
Cool.
Wow,
Awesome.
awesome.
Yeah.
Okay. Help me out here. What kind of skincare are we talking about? For a fellow like me, who, just a country boy from Texas, what am
Rub
I
some
looking
dirt
at
on
here?
it. Yeah.
Yeah, what are we looking at here?
So we're
Hero.
actually based in Texas.
Is that right?
Yeah, Fort
Yeah.
Worth. Mhm.
Yeah, okay. That's
Yeah.
my stomping grounds.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So my CEO's
Pretty
from
area.
El Paso, I think.
Is that right?
Originally, yeah.
Interesting.
She's cute. But so we actually just launched a new product called Hero, which
Okay.
is a 3-in-1. So you're gonna get your cleanser, your moisturizer, and your, I think, is it eye cream or tone?
Eye cream.
Eye cream all in one.
Okay.
So it's not a bunch of steps. Me, I have like 20 steps.
Oh, so that's
you can't
one
expect a
thing.
man.
Nah, I'm not going to do that.
No,
Yeah.
and neither is he.
Yeah.
No, I love it.
The,
the
he's
best
like the
thing.
hero. He's like, oh my gosh, and
So-
it smells
Easy.
like a man.
And you put it on your face.
Yeah. So our it's that one's
I
water.
know
That was such a great question.
I know. I know that
I mean,
sounds
you
ridiculous.
can put it wherever you want, I guess. Wherever you'd like some anti-aging.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Fair
Yeah.
enough. Yeah, I think I follow
Um,
what you mean.
yeah.
Does
Yeah.
it come in like gallon jugs?
Yeah.
That's the
Yeah.
next question. Yeah.
No. But it is, so ours are technically clinical grade. So it's clinical grade ingredients. They're active ingredients. So you've got like hyaluronic acid, vitamin C, aloe vera, baobab oil. So you actually have things that are going to work, not
Okay.
just like soap with filler, right? So
Okay.
there's a lot of fillers. Same with mainstream ingredients for
Mhm.
supplements. It's the same thing. But the Hero is actually my CEO's husband came up with the concept because he didn't want to do 4 steps.
Sure.
And so it's just a 3-in-1. I think you don't have to use water with it, right?
Nope.
You just, So it's waterless. So you just put it on your hands, rub it on,
And then it just
get a washcloth, and then just wipe it off with water on a washcloth. So
like
most of
staining a
them you
piece of wood, kind of
Yeah,
like that.
yeah,
Okay, I
yeah.
follow now. Yeah.
Yeah. So you have
Wait,
to
you're
talk
supposed to wipe it off
right?
after? I just put it on, let it dry.
Oh.
I thought it was a lotion too.
Lotion.
I thought it had the face lotion in it and the eye cream for
Hmm.
after. Well,
You look great.
Yeah,
so
you
I mean,
do.
it's
I
worth
mean,
working.
You don't have like a layer of like. I'm like looking at his skin like you look
now I need
fresh.
to go wash
I
my
don't know.
face.
I feel like you're supposed to wash it off. I don't use the Hero, but
The test.
do
the-
you, boo?
Oh.
Put it where you want. Wash
That's
it
how
off.
good it
don't
I'm
wash
is.
it
It
going
off.
works no matter how you use it.
Yeah.
You can't use
he
it
has
wrong.
great skin, anyways, but
Yeah.
he's
So-
gotten a lot more. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
I think it's
tester.
cute that you're not washing it off. That's so cute. I love you.
Well, I use the 2 steps, the face wash in the shower, because
Uh-huh.
obviously for a guy that's just usually the best or easiest time, or the time you're going to do it, only time. And then once out of the shower, face dry, then I put the Hero on. But it literally takes, because they have the eye cream you gotta do and all these steps, and as a guy, you're just like, I just want to go,
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
just not that interested
Yeah.
in
So if
taking
you
all
get
the
it, have
time.
it simple.
Do you
Most-
want to age well?
Yeah. Or backwards.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Backwards is interesting. Yeah,
that's
kind of
that's
interesting.
the goal. Yeah.
I don't know. I maybe a little. I think my wife would answer differently.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is your wife into that? Like
No,
skincare?
not really.
No.
No. I mean, more than me.
Right.
But I don't know that we've ever even spoken about it before.
Wow.
But don't
We
you think guys don't think about it till it actually happens though?
Well, and I
that's-
also
I
think,
think
it
that's true.
has
I
a lot
think
to
that's
do
true.
with if your wife's talking to you about it and stuff too, because it is naturally like more of a like we don't
Yeah.
want to age, we don't
Right.
want to get wrinkles and stuff.
Right.
Men can have wrinkles, and you guys are still, like looking
Yeah.
like amazing, but like girls, there's a lot more pressure. I feel like so we're on top of it.
I think
I feel
there's
like.
probably some truth to that. Yeah, I did.
100%.
It was not long ago. I was looking at some like my crow's feet, and I was like, "Oh man, this is not going well."
Yeah, but men can get away with
They
crow's
can.
feet,
That's
you
probably
know?
true.
It's different.
That's probably true.
Yeah,
very
like
true.
look at what John Dutton, right?
Yeah,
Mhm.
distinguished.
Mhm.
Yeah,
You know, he's wrinkly and he looks great.
yeah.
You
Totally.
know,
There's
So-
something about like a weathered face on a man that's just like masculine and
yeah,
it
like
works.
if he gets wrinkly, I'm here for it.
It'll be fine.
Yeah.
Well, I won't because of Bellamy.
Oh,
I love it.
I love it. And the collagen, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Collagen. What do you do with that?
Yes.
Is that also a
Collagen-
rub in your face
Oh my
thing?
goodness.
It's
This
just a
is not-
question.
this is
Why
not-
would I know?
I love it.
I know. You drink collagen. So it's
Oh.
bovine and marine. So it's like from cow or fish. Basically,
It's like their scales or the cow
I-
scales.
cow innards. I don't know.
It
but
comes out of a cow.
yeah,
Okay.
it's derived from cow and fish.
So far, so
that are
good.
all
Yeah.
ethically sourced, right? So that's big for us. Big.
Mhm.
But basically, when you turn 20, every single year you lose 1% of your collagen, natural collagen.
And my
production.
collagen is. Tell me what
So
that is.
collagen is
Tell me what you think.
your
that
bone
is.
health, your
Okay.
skin. So it helps with like elasticity in your skin. So
okay.
basically, that's why you get wrinkly, right? Because you're
Mm.
losing that elasticity. It's starting to sag
1% a year, like starting at what age?
at 20.
At
So
20.
like I'm 32, so I've
Uh-huh.
lost 12%. That makes me
How much? would
not
I
very
have
happy.
I'm
So I have to
at-
drink some collagen.
What am
Yeah.
I at? Like 18%?
Yeah.
19%?
Yeah,
That's
isn't
not
that
good.
crazy?
Yeah.
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 So, but it also helps with like muscle recovery. It's
Joint support.
yeah, it helps a lot with honestly, if you're not taking, and that's the thing with Pat too, is we've tried to educate like men need collagen as well. I think a lot of times it's been like a woman's world with
Sure.
collagen,
Mhm.
but everybody benefits
Well, I
from
was
collagen.
at HipSip the other day, and they were like, "Hey, we've got a drink with collagen." And I was
Mm-hmm.
like, "I don't think that's for me,"
It is for you.
but I don't know why I
Yeah.
think that
Right.
either.
Yeah.
Right?
Because I
just-
think again, it's just how things are marketed,
Yeah.
right?
Totally.
Collagen's for
Mhm.
women, but it's really for everybody. It helps with prevent osteoporosis. There's all sorts of different
Yeah,
things.
I started drinking it recently.
Really?
And it's amazing, by the way.
What is it? Do you feel different, or do you
My
just
joints actually feel better.
Interesting.
I've always
Yeah.
had like knee problems.
I've definitely
and-
noticed it on joints.
Is that
It's
right?
crazy.
Yeah. So I have
Interesting.
Hashimoto's, which is like a
Oh.
autoimmune disease.
My wife has this as well.
Oh, really?
Mhm, yeah.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so you know.
Mhm.
Does she have like joint pain and skin issues and
little bit.
Yeah.
a little bit.
helps a lot with like inflammation in the body?
Interesting.
Which
Okay.
is basically what Hashimoto's is,
Yeah,
right? It's
yeah.
just a lot of inflammation going on.
Right.
So it would be a good product for her for
Oh,
sure.
okay.
Yeah. That's crazy. She has Hashimoto's as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's not very fun stuff.
No, she doesn't
Yeah.
love it.
I don't love that for me either.
Yeah. Yeah.
But could be worse.
Yeah, I guess that's
Yeah.
true too.
Yeah.
Golly. Okay, I want to ask this as well. You guys have done so much, and it's so interesting to talk to you about all this stuff. What advice would you give to entrepreneurs following in your footsteps? What would you tell them? You absolutely have to do this. And what would you say is like, this was the thing that I messed up on. Don't ever do it.
At East Idaho Credit Union, we're changing the future of business with our Velocity Money Market account. You can receive unbeatable returns on tiered interest rates. We have rates up to 2.02% annual percentage yield. East Idaho Credit Union puts local businesses first because when you do better, we all do better. Federally insured by the NCUA.
Okay, I want to ask this as well. You guys have done so much, and it's so interesting to talk to you about all this stuff. What advice would you give to entrepreneurs following in your footsteps? What would you tell them? You absolutely have to do this. And what would you say is like, this was the thing that I messed up on. Don't ever do it.
Well, 100% be passionate and love what you do,
Yeah.
you know, because whether they're money driven or whatever the case is, I think some people might do things because of that, right?
Yeah.
But I think that can only take you, and some people prove that wrong, but I'm talking majority, that's only takes you so far. And I feel like you cap out. You don't
Right.
got that passion behind it or love that, you know? So definitely love and enjoy what you do, right?
Yeah.
What you got?
I would say, oh man, I would say don't be afraid to like fire yourself and rehire yourself. I feel like we've had to do that a lot.
So explain what you mean by that.
I've never been
So-
fired.
I fire myself often. I think that it's
Do you fire each other very
Yeah.
often? Is that
all
something?
the time. Just kidding. You'd be like, yeah, right. You're not gonna fire me. No, what I mean by that is you're not always gonna have it figured out. Balance is hard. It's not always gonna be fun. You're gonna slack off sometimes. And so I feel like if I'm in like a bad headspace or I feel like I haven't been like the best, I'll just like fire myself and act like I'm just starting. Because I think that, especially with what I do in the very beginning, you're on fire with passion, and same with him.
Mhm.
And you kind of lose that. So if you like fire yourself and you rehire yourself and you treat it like you're starting over, it's like this weird mental thing. I don't know. My CEO does
reset.
it.
Mm.
Yeah. And I started implementing that. I would also say like, don't go into it with failure even being an option.
Mhm.
Just don't even like let your mind go there. Cause I genuinely believe that success is mental. And I have so many people on my team that, you know, I think that they could do so many things, but they get stuck in their own way. They don't believe in themselves,
Yeah.
or they kind of like give up before they even give themselves a
Isn't that
chance.
so frustrating to watch
It's
people that
so
you're like,
hard.
I know you can do it.
Yes.
You just don't know you
Because
can
I
do
can
it.
recognize it in
Yeah.
people, you know, and I'm
Yeah.
like, okay, like I started from nothing. We were selling supplements out of my parents' basement. So it's like you gotta fake it till you make it
Sure.
a little bit.
Yeah.
And so I would just say like don't give yourself an out.
Yeah.
You know?
And don't be stubborn would be another one, because
Mm.
I think it's so
We're
easy.
still working on that one.
Not with business. Basically, like you know, if you got to always evolve, right? And they're so easy to put a cap on being stubborn. Like
Yeah.
maybe I think I know it all, but
Mhm.
you know, I've always had that mindset. I'm like I
Be a
want to
student.
learn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't want to know it all. I want to keep learning. There's no way
Yeah.
to know it all. And there's always new stuff coming out. So you got to keep going with that. So, yeah. So putting down that stubbornness, not thinking you know everything, and surrounding yourself with the right people would be the other thing.
Yeah. It's great
Yeah.
advice.
And focus on your why.
Yeah.
Always
Yeah.
start with why.
Mhm.
Yep.
Okay. What pitfalls and mistakes would you tell people? I did this. Don't make the same mistake.
Man,
We're both
I
like, we
think-
don't make mistakes.
we-
Just kidding. Just kidding. I
Well,
don't
it's
know.
learning. I
That's
mean,
hard.
because
Because everything we learned from, like, I don't feel like with Ripped, I really don't feel like we ever had like a, wow, we really shouldn't have done that moment.
maybe on some advertising
Sure.
money.
Yeah.
You like, and every business is gonna be different that way too. But for us, like, especially starting out, you're like, you gotta get your name out there. So we're
Mhm.
trying anything and everything,
Mhm.
and there are just so many avenues that just did not work. That was a lot of money that floated away.
What didn't
Yeah.
work for you that you tried?
A lot was, well, the yellow pages.
Yeah. Okay.
Well,
Yeah.
literally, that was like 10 years ago, still a thing, right?
That was still a thing. Yeah.
Newspaper.
This is like aging us
Oh my
hardcore.
gosh.
Don't do
The-
the yellow pages.
It's okay. It's all right. I was trying to explain to my kids the other
Yeah,
day
what
what the
that
yellow
is.
pages were. They
Oh
were
my
like,
gosh.
they were like, why didn't you just Google it? I'm
Oh
like,
my gosh.
"Kid."
Our son has no, no. He has no idea.
the radio. I mean,
Mhm.
especially
No one listens to the radio anymore.
nowadays. Everyone has either XM or you're listening to Bluetooth or
Right.
whatever.
Yeah.
So we did do a lot of money, or not a lot, but enough that I'm like, we shouldn't have. Those are probably the biggest ones.
Yeah.
TV, because
Same
again,
reason.
late you're usually recorded, so you're
Yeah.
flipping through the
Or you're on Netflix,
Everything's
or
streaming
you're
now.
streaming
Yep.
something. Yeah.
yeah. So
Yeah.
Yeah, oh man, I would just say like stay consistent.
Mm.
I feel like success is with it. It takes consistency, and I think that there's been times in like my life where I haven't been able to be as consistent as I wanted to, and I look back and I'm like, man, if I would have just been a little more consistent, how much farther I would be. And I've done I've done incredible things, but it's like if you can really, really stay consistent. Honestly, people will say, "What's the key to success?" And it's consistency.
Yeah. It's like discipline and
Mhm.
consistency.
yeah. Think
Same
about
with
the
the gym.
gym.
Yeah. Same with the
Gym.
gym. You're not wrong.
Yeah.
There's a lot of parallels there for
Yep.
sure.
Yep.
Yeah. Wow. Interesting.
You guys have both done really, really well on social media. I think it obviously goes hand in hand with that about consistency. But will you talk a little bit more about what's really worked for you guys and how
Yeah.
other people can maybe like grow their socials?
I think the biggest thing with social media right now is like finding your niche
Mhm.
or being able to add value. So it used to be like you could just like post whatever and it didn't matter. But now it's kind of like people want to come to your page and get value, right?
Mhm.
So you guys are adding value by businesses being able to take away from
Mhm.
other businesses, right? So I feel like for me, it was finding like what does my like audience want to see from me, as opposed to like what I'm putting up. So I would say like especially like with Ripped, that's been so successful because people know what they're getting on our
Yeah.
page, and on top of it, it's so educational. So I would say the number one thing would be to add value. Make sure that if you're posting this, is someone going to want to stick around? And if you're posting about that, continue to post about it because people want consistency, right?
Right.
Again, consistency.
Yeah.
But I would say consistency and niche really are probably the biggest things for social media right now. And yeah, just it takes time, People think they're going to, blow up overnight and I get like one reel that goes viral and I'm going to be,
Yeah.
the next
Game over.
Yeah. But it takes a lot of
so patience.
time.
Yeah.
I mean, I've been growing my Instagram for about 6 years,
Mhm.
so
Mhm.
it's not overnight. That's
Yeah.
for sure. What would you say?
Social media is a tough one because I feel like so we're all human, right? So the consistency is huge because we all have our weeks or maybe sometimes months, whatever, where you just don't want to post or you don't want
Right.
to put anything on there.
It's like
or,
a job.
Yeah,
Or-
you're just like,
Yeah.
I just don't want to show the world anything right
Yeah.
now.
Yep.
Or you get in your own head and it's just like maybe you start doubting it or whatever the case is, and so it's like, what's the point of posting? Again, you're in your head, right?
Yeah.
So consistency is the one that I've learned for sure. And I think the value thing's huge because you just they gotta get something out of it and be intrigued, right? To want to follow it and keep following it. And so, and a little bit of a twist to it, like adding some different things, not just being the same
Mhm.
I
every
think be
single
yourself
time.
100%. Yeah, too though.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
I feel like that's one thing that's worked for in my favor is I just feel like I'm a little bit different than what people are used to in Idaho Falls. So that intrigues people.
Mhm.
And I think it's just being like unapologetically you and whatever that looks like, not
Mhm.
trying to be what everyone else is being. That gives other people permission to show up as themselves, you
Sure.
know? So I
Yeah.
think that
hmm
we both try really hard to just be as authentic as possible.
Mhm.
Authenticity, I think people can tell if something's not
they
authentic,
can.
you know?
Totally.
Yeah.
And it doesn't, I mean, I've met people in person that I like followed online and I was like so disappointed. 'Cause I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, you're kind of a bad person.
Yeah.
Like you're not even nice. And so it's like just being authentic and
Mm.
caring about people, I think is so important.
Mhm.
So
And ignoring the crap, like
Yeah.
you know, with the
he
commenting
had
and
a
stuff.
comment last night and someone said, I wouldn't buy a stick of gum from this weirdo.
Yeah,
Oh my
And
goodness.
he like sent it to me and I'm like, honey, if you're getting trolled, you made it.
Yeah.
You made it. I'm
Stick
like,
of
oh my
gum.
gosh. And it's always like someone with like 0 followers, like no
Oh yeah, they're
profile
14
picture.
probably.
Yeah.
Yeah, someone or someone who
14
doesn't
or
like you from high school
50.
and they're like,
Yeah,
so-
yeah.
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 I'm like, that's a good one. You wouldn't buy a stick of gum from you.
Yeah, it's an old lady with her cat in the
Right.
profile
Yeah.
picture. Yeah, it's
Yep.
funny.
how dare he?
What advice would you guys give somebody who's like, the internet trolls, like, what do I do?
Oh, it's
Use it as fuel
yeah.
if you can. Like obviously, that annoyed me for a second, the stick of gum thing, even though it was little, right? But I was like, at the same time, I'm like, if you're not getting that, like she said, if you're not getting that, then you're doing something wrong.
Success breeds
Right.
haters.
It does.
If you're doing
Yeah.
something right, someone's gonna hate on you. And I think, I mean, I've had like YouTube videos made about me. Like
Oh, wow.
I had someone literally like watch all my stories, record my voice.
Oh, weird.
Super creepy.
You're talking a lot of time.
Yeah.
And then like make a video, like voice, like she memorized everything that I said and made a video. She's made 5 or 6 videos about me. And if you go
what
on,
a creep.
oh my
Wow,
gosh.
that
Well,
is
and she,
weird.
one of them she made was the day before Thanksgiving. And I'm like, I actually feel bad for you because
She's
shouldn't you be
clearly
cooking with
not
your
with her
family or
family.
something?
Yeah.
Yeah. But you know, I got on and I looked at all the comments people were making about me, and I mean, it was bad. And at the end of the day, if you're successful or you're showing up on social media and if you have something that maybe someone wants, or instead of being inspired, you're gonna have people who are gonna be like triggered by it,
Mm.
and that's not
Mhm.
yours to carry. You just gotta not care. The
Mhm.
less you care, the more power they have, you know. And that's why when you told me the stick of gum thing, I'm like, that's actually kind of fun. Like, who cares, you know?
Yeah.
But if you're successful, it comes with the territory.
It's very
you know,
true.
it really does.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, so
The internet's a weird place. It just
really
with
is.
full of weird people who say weird
just
things.
angry people,
Yeah.
you know. And I'm like, get a hobby. Like,
Right.
I don't have time to even check my own comments, let alone go to some random person and be like, oh, buy a stick of gum from you, punk. Like, what does that guy's life look like? You know,
It's true. You
it's
just
like
feel sad for him,
perspective.
honestly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like he's
Yeah.
probably, maybe he just needs a hug or something, you know,
Maybe.
or a stick of gum.
Maybe that's the response. Sounds like I'm happy to give you a hug if you need one.
Yeah,
I'm
you
here
need
for
Jesus
you.
and a stick of gum.
That's
Yeah.
I love that.
Oh my
Well,
goodness.
and also not engage, right? Like
Yeah.
usually
Yeah.
I'll just delete, but some people thrive off that too.
Oh,
and
God.
love the
Yeah.
arguing and stuff. And
Yeah.
Well, it's kind of interesting because you can actually game the algorithm by letting people fight on your,
Yeah.
Yeah.
your
100%.
content.
Yeah,
It's just kind of silly,
100%.
isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're saying all this nasty stuff about you, and you're like, "Yeah, thanks, idiot."
Yeah.
Right? Like
Go on.
it's actually helpful for this content
Yeah.
to do that. Yeah,
Keep boosting my algorithm.
that's right.
Yep.
Yeah, man, this has been really interesting, actually. Bailey, are you ready?
What's your message to the world?
What's your message to the world?
um,
Don't wait till tomorrow. Start today, because there's never going to be the perfect time, and it's always going to be hard. But if you start today, then tomorrow you will thank you, and you'll be one step closer to where you want to be. So
Mm.
I would say start today. Quit making excuses. Get off your booty. Roll up your sleeves, and get to work.
It's great advice.
Yeah.
I have a friend who was getting ready to start studying to be a doctor. And I was like, oh,
So much work.
man, all the school and all the blah. And he's like, yeah, but, the next 10 years is going to pass one way or the other.
Mhm.
And at the end of that, I could be a doctor or I could be like you.
Or I could be a dragon slayer.
It's like,
Yeah.
okay, all right, you got me there, I guess. Yeah.
That's how I
It's
look
good
at
advice,
it.
though.
Your time's going to pass anyways. You might as well do things
That's
that
right.
in 10 years you'll look back and go, I'm so glad that I got
Mhm.
up and took
Oh,
a chance on
totally.
myself.
Yeah.
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 Get a pump. Get to the gym.
Get ripped.
It's good. It's good
I love
advice.
that.
It's good advice.
I'm
No,
like, he's going to
seriously.
say get ripped.
Because it doesn't have to be physically. It's crazy how much just going and doing something physical, how good it is for the body, and even probably more so mentally.
Yeah.
And just get that blood flowing. You know, the pump. You make fun because the bodybuilders and stuff, they're
Yeah.
obsessed with the
The
pump.
meatheads, you know? Yeah.
If you ever watch Pumping Iron with Arnold Schwarzenegger,
I've watched it more times than I would like to
he'll
admit.
tell you what he thinks the pump is like.
I've seen that.
So you know what I'm
Mm.
talking
Exactly
about.
what he's talking
Okay.
about. Yeah.
Mm.
So pump's a good thing, but
PG. Yeah.
but yeah, just really, I just get active and just do something and stay
Yeah.
active and be consistent with that.
For some reason, people like to think that like your mind and your body are not connected
Oh my
or something
gosh.
like that. But they're
Success is mental.
Yeah,
Whether that's in
they're
the
all the same.
gym, in the work industry. I mean, we do not realize how powerful our minds are. And I'm like huge into manifesting and really kind of putting what it is that you want out there. Don't be afraid to like ask for it. Don't be afraid to say it out loud. Don't be afraid to write it down. You
Mhm.
know, I think just claiming what you want for sure.
Love
Yeah.
it.
Beautiful. Well, guys, thank you so much. This has been really, really interesting, and we've loved having you on.
We loved being here.
Thank
Thanks for
you.
having us.
Yeah,
Yes.
we'll have to do
Thank
it
you.
again. This is
Yes,
great.
for sure. We'll get
Um,
him some skincare too.
yeah,
love it.
yeah,
Yeah.
I suppose I need it. So that'd be good. Yeah.
Actually, your skin's really good.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Appreciate that.
yeah.
Thank you for joining us on the Dragon Slayer podcast by East Idaho Credit Union, and we'll see you next time.